Hello friends, welcome to Broadview, I'm Joseph. So not long ago we talked about Nostradamus' Les prophecies. Today let's talk about future predictions by way of cartoons. That's right, the primetime animated comedy series The Simpsons. Before we start, please click the subscribe button. Okay, The Simpsons. It's one of the most successful animations in the United States, produced by American 20th Century Fox. It premiered in 1989 and has obtained loyal fans across generations. I'm sure we all remember the first time we watched an episode of The Simpsons. For me at least, I recall how unique and odd their appearance was. First off, why was their skin so yellow, and why did Marge have enormous blue hair? It was also quite obvious how dysfunctional their family was and how intellectually dense some characters were. So dumb it was funny. Now, such an odd show stood the test of time and has become one of the most successful and longest running shows. In The Simpsons, the storyline revolves around mainly a family of five. That is, the mentally immature father Homer Simpson, the mother Marge Simpson with towering blue hair, and their three children, Bart, the first son and also a troublemaker, Lisa, the daughter and the environmentalist, and also the seemingly innocent little baby. Now, let's not forget the dog and the cat. So altogether, 7 characters make up a typical middle-class American family. The Simpsons live in a small town called Springfield, a name that a bunch of American towns share. Actually, if you Google search it, you'll find numerous locations on the map. The Simpsons family have various interactions with the people in town, and thus various stories have been evolved over all the seasons. The main theme of the show you'll find is to mock and express disgust at the incompetence of the government, the corruption of the politicians, the greed of the big corporations, the negligence of the police, the irresponsibility of the media, and so on. Of course, there are also parts that express personal growth and the beauty of human nature. The cartoon series has been extremely popular since its launch in 1989. Amazingly, it has produced more than 700 episodes and won countless awards. However, when we look back at what the series has been talking about, we suddenly discover that it is not only satirical, but also a seemingly masterful forecast of future events. Some of The Simpsons' predictions might seem amazing, but could be born from logical calculations based off facts and trends. Let's look at a few examples. In The Simpsons Season 6, Episode 19, airing in 1995, Lisa's Wedding, smartwatches were predicted. Lisa's fiancé was a character in the show who used his wristwatch to make calls, while in that same year, Microsoft had just released Windows 95, an early version of Windows operating system. Now, in the real world, the modern voice recognition-enabled smartwatches weren't rolled out until 2014, the Apple Watch. In The Simpsons Season 10, Episode 2, airing in 1998, Homer Simpson, the protagonist, stood in front of a chalkboard on which he scrawled a complex equation to calculate the mass of an unknown elementary particle. Homer seemed particularly serious and scholastic in this episode, rather than his usual idiotic self. In 2012, with the passage of 14 years, physicists really discovered a new particle, the Higgs boson particle. Because the Higgs particle is used to explain how everything in the universe has mass, it's been called the God particle. In The Simpsons Season 10, Episode 5, airing in 1998, it was predicted that 20th Century Fox would be acquired by Disney. This acquisition case really happened 19 years later in 2017. Strictly speaking, these few accurate pieces don't actually need some time machine to have been predicted. As a matter of fact, a great team of screenwriters work for The Simpsons, and they're all very intelligent people who have the extensive knowledge and expertise to predict future developments in the relevant fields. For example, mobile phones or wireless phones with satellite navigation functions that we rely on today first appeared in the military field some years ago, and then gradually extended for public use. In 1994, the first smartwatch that was capable of data transfer through linking with a computer was manufactured by Timex, called Timex Data Link. The watch phone in the cartoon of The Simpsons appeared in 1995, a year after the Timex Data Link. This was then probably already a development trend at that time, though not quite known to the public. Now, regarding the God particle, the explanation of the Higgs mechanism in theory was proposed as early as 1964. Presuming the existence of the particle. The particle was discovered in 2012 and proved the theory correct. The producer of the 1998 predictions of the God particle series himself has a strong background in theoretical physics. When he was later interviewed by the media, he proudly said that the formula used in the cartoon gave a mass that was just a little bit more than the actual nanomass of the Higgs boson. As for the prediction of Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox, it is likely that the intention of the acquisition was proposed as early as 1998 or even before. It was only realized after a delay of 19 years. Indeed, you don't necessarily need to have a crystal ball or to master astrology to make the predictions mentioned above. The fact that the Simpsons screenwriter team has many especially talented people makes some of the successful predictions practically explainable. However, there are some other predictions which are hard to explain, and they are pretty fascinating. So in this troubling year of 2021, might the Simpsons writing team have any insight on what's to come? Well, let's take a look. Firstly, a child prodigy in India, astrologer Abhigya Anand, made the earliest prediction about COVID-19 in August 2019, which brought him fame worldwide. However, some fans of The Simpsons expressed their disagreement, saying that the earliest prediction was not made by Anand, but in The Simpsons, because they made mention of it as early as 1993. In The Simpsons Season 4, Episode 21, titled Marge in Chains, airing in 1993, it was said a virus would spread from Asia to the world. There was no cure for this virus, and the doctor's only prescription was bed rest. Fans believe that this scene reflects the actual situation after the outbreak of the novel coronavirus. The virus spread from Wuhan, China to the world, and virtually the whole world entered into a lockdown. Perhaps a metaphor for bed rest. Now, one of the predictions that The Simpsons hit on the head in 2021 was at Biden's inauguration on January 20th. Actor Tom Hanks was the host of the ceremony. In fact, he appeared in the cartoon 14 years earlier. Hanks in the cartoon said, "The US government has lost its credibility, so it's borrowing some of mine." What's more interesting is that Kamala Harris, who just became the vice president, was wearing the same dress as the character in the cartoon, as early as 20 years ago. In 2000, the first American woman president in the episode of Bart to the Future, President Lisa, on her first day in power, wore a purple suit with a large pearl necklace around her neck. When you compare it to reality, it's very similar to Kamala Harris's dress. What is even more unbelievable is that Lisa in this cartoon mentioned her last president was Trump. Even the order of presidents was accurate. Of course, there are people who think Harris may have deliberately imitated the look of Lisa in The Simpsons, which is entirely possible. Okay, this is what has come true in 2021 from the cartoon. Let's lay bare some possible predictions of the future as found in The Simpsons. The future as depicted in the episode Treehouse of Horror in 2020 is pretty horrifying and chilling to watch. In the episode, the US presidential election is going on. The scene shows that the Democratic Party is on the verge of losing within 8 minutes. Homer Simpson is on the lookout. On Homer's way to vote, he falls asleep in a garden and misses the presidential election. The scene suddenly changes. He wakes up and it's doomsday and the world has gone up in flames. Homer's standing in armor in the town square, surrounded by ruins, raging fires, and robots roaming the streets abusing people. As Homer looks up, he sees 4 horsemen of the apocalypse riding into town, holding the flags that read Pestilence, Famine, War, and Treehouse of Horror 31. Homer's horrified seeing this and stands frozen with his jaw dropped. Is this the end of the world? Now, this cartoon episode might convey 2 messages. First, the meaning of the 4 horsemen. As we mentioned in the video, incredible messages hidden in the Bible. In Christian culture, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are the signs of the end of the world according to the book of Revelation, the last book of the New Testament. The appearance of horsemen means the ending of the world as people know it. According to Revelations, the horsemen are riding the white, red, black, and pale horses. The first to appear is the white horse rider. He is the beast. Because of his influence, there are fewer believers in God in the world. Then comes the red horse rider holding a large sword. He has the power to take peace from the earth and cause discord in humanity. The third to enter is the black horse rider, who represents famine and death. The last one is the pale horse rider, who represents death. With their swords waving, famines, plagues, and wild beasts swept all of mankind, killing a quarter of the entire population. A horrible visual indeed. The second message is about the timing of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse appearance. It follows a US presidential election. In the show, the Democrats were initially about to lose, but upon the voters, or Homer's arising from sleep, everything changed, including the outcome of the election. Some fans speculate that this scene has some resemblance to recent current events. So from the beginning of the Simpsons series to the present, fans have come up with about 30 prophecies that have come true. Can we expect to see some of what the Simpsons predicted in the last scene? For the predictions of this animated series, the BBC once conducted an interview in 2019. The original writers of the series, Al Jean and Stephanie Gillis, expressed modestly that any similarities are pure coincidence. The creative team is not a group of prophets. They aren't working with tarot cards or crystal balls. Their daily work is to discuss current events in the world, to ponder the developmental trends in various fields, and ultimately to capture the audience's attention. The entire series maintains a huge team of more than 60 screenwriters. The screenwriters are all elites in various fields. They have their own life experiences and also their own thoughts about society. Of course, they will write to their own experiences, feelings, and thoughts. So over the decades, it's no surprise that some things have come true or have been accurate. This explanation from this perspective seems to make sense. I mean, who knows, perhaps some of the screenwriters have some prophetic ability and know how societal phenomena might unfold. While writing the scripts for the show, their insight is interwoven into the storyline, perhaps. In either case, some of the things The Simpsons has depicted are amazingly accurate and has caused fans around the world to talk about it. Well, that's all for today. Let me know your thoughts on this and share any other examples you may have found yourself. I'd love to hear about them. Okay, thank you all. We'll see you next time.